Be part of the peace movement. Share this episode using hashtag the Great Disarmament and download the free peace resource guide at aviskalfsbeck.com/peace guide. The Great Disfarmament, The Great Disarmament, Part 2, Clubs and Compost. Hi, I'm Avis Kalfsbeck, author, podcast host, and peace storyteller. This is The Great Disfarmament, The Great Disarmament, a special podcast series from Pieces Here, tracing the parallel histories of how we learn to kill and how we might stop. If you're just joining us, welcome. Each episode maps a moment in the twin stories of war and agriculture. Today's episode takes us deep into prehistory, before bullets, before borders, before industry, when farming was ritual and war was still face-to-face. Setting the stage. Before we had bullets, we had clubs. Before we had chemicals, we had compost. And before we waged war on nature, we lived inside it, messy, intimate, interdependent. This episode is about the before, the quiet knowledge, the inherited rhythms, the time when farming was something closer to tending than conquering. And war, it was closer to a death ritual than a death industry. This episode is titled Clubs and Compost. It's about what we lost before we even knew we'd miss it. Let's begin where most stories of civilization do, somewhere between 10,000 and 8,000 BCE. As the last ice age thawed and glaciers receded, our ancestors began to shift from nomadic hunting and gathering to the early experiments of settled life. Humans had been hunting and gathering for millennia, but in several places around the world they began to stay put. They planted things, they waited, and then they planted again. Farming was born. And here's the crucial part. For most of human history, farming was not extractive. It was adaptive. It relied on observation, memory, biodiversity, and community. The early farmers weren't drenching fields with poisons. They were building soil with compost, manure, charcoal, even animal bones. They were experimenting, sometimes successfully, sometimes not, with what we'd now call polyculture, intercropping, and rotational grazing. In Mesoamerica, farmers developed the milpa system, rotating corn, beans, and squash in complex cycles. In Africa, shifting cultivation methods like slash and mulch preserved soil fertility for generations. In India and the Middle East, composting was sacred practice. Human and animal waste wasn't waste, it was currency. Meanwhile, war was deeply personal. The weapons were sticks, stones, spears. Conflicts were tribal, often over land or water, and rarely total. And why are we talking about weapons again? Good question. If you're just joining us, we're mapping two timelines, one of human warfare and one of agriculture. Both began with basic tools. Both became systems of control. And in this episode, we're looking at what came before control, when taking life still required being close to it. The idea of killing to maximize efficiency in war or in farming had not yet taken hold. That came later. What we see in this era is this. People knew how to take life, but they also knew how to give it back. And that is the moral rupture we'll be tracking as this series unfolds. It's easy to think pre-industrial people didn't leave literature, but they did. They left epics, myths, instructions, carried orally, then etched in stone or written on papyrus. Today's voice comes from the instructions of Shuruppak, a Sumerian text written more than 4,000 years ago. It's considered one of the earliest known pieces of recorded human wisdom. In it, a father offers advice to his son. One line reads, "Do not commit violence, my son." A simple sentence, direct, human. This early wisdom offers a code of care and caution, not conquest. What if instead of building global agriculture and global politics on domination and extraction, we had built them on those 6 words? What it means for us. How we eat shapes how we live, and the way we farm reflects how we see the world, our beliefs about control, care, and what we owe each other. In this earliest era, farming was a mirror of interdependence, and war, the brutal, still had boundaries, consequences, and ritual. But as we'll see in the next few episodes, both began to shift. Farming became about yield, not balance, and war became about victory, not repair. And once the scale tipped, once life stopped being sacred and started being measured, we entered the long descent of the Great Disfarmament. That's the story we're telling now. From Page to the Soil. In one of the world's oldest surviving texts, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the king slays a sacred forest guardian in search of fame. His people call it heroism, but the earth does not. Soon after, nature turns on him. The gods send drought, trees stop growing, crops fail, and grief enters the story. This moment, written over 4,000 years ago, is more than a myth. It's a memory, a warning that domination carries a cost, that killing the sacred has consequences. Gilgamesh eventually seeks wisdom from the immortal Upnashishtim, a flood survivor who tells him there is no permanence, no kingdom, no glory, no weapon endures. Even then, they knew. The text ends not in triumph, but in humility, in remembrance, in the knowledge that what we take must be given back. Next episode, we move forward into the 1700s and 1800s, into muskets, manure, and the first signs of weaponized agriculture. It's called Gunpowder and Guano. I'll meet you there. Don't forget to subscribe so you can catch all 14 episodes in the series. That wraps up this episode of Peace is Here. Will you please take a moment to subscribe and share it with a friend? Subscribing helps others discover peaceful, independent storytelling, and it means a lot to me. I'm Avis Kaufsbeck, author of the Pedro the Water Dog Saves the Planet series, eco-adventure novellas for readers who care about environmental justice, joy, and saving the world one story at a time. You can learn more at aviskaufsbeck.com. Book 6, Mono Mutante, is now available at all major online retailers, or if you'd like to support my book directly, you can get the ebook at aviskaufsbeck.com/mono-mutante. It's a wild satirical ride through food, farming, and the messiness of recovery. When you subscribe to my list, you'll also be the first to hear about my next book, Bulletproof, which asks, what in the world are we going to do about guns? A link to subscribe is in the show notes. From October 18th to November 8th, 2025, I'm running a live Kickstarter campaign. I'd be so grateful if you'd visit aviskaufsbeck.com/Kickstarter to get notified. I'm creating a companion field journal for Book 1, One More Year, called Peace Stuff Primer, along with a stage play version of the book. I can't wait to share it with you. This episode was human narrated by me with the help of AI, which has promised to let me know if it ever makes something up. So far, no confessions, but if you think I've missed something or if you just want to say hello, I'd love to hear from you. Podcast music is by Javier Peque Rodriguez. You'll find links to his music on Spotify and Bandcamp in the show notes. I'm Avis Kaufsbeck. Thank you again. Until next time, listen for the peace.